What's up?
So, Coach. Dang, you got the background set up, bro, nice and pretty.
This is usually my wife's spot.
No wonder it's so pretty. Look at that. I know you didn't decorate that.
That's usually my background. I was like, that might look a little better. Go ahead. Can you go ahead and move out to the living room or to the bedroom real quick?
That's funny.
Yesterday we had a little conference with my dad, and so hopefully we did a tutorial for a few tries to make sure he could get on.
It was a conference on how to Zoom?
Yeah. So we did it, and I mean, it took 3 attempts, but we finally got it to work. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock right now. He's usually pinpoint punctual.
He's gonna tell us that his laptop says 4 o'clock, while ours is wrong.
How's everything else been going?
Good.
Are y'all finishing up this week?
Yeah, like they told us, grades and stuff, not to give any more work after this week, to start closing everything out.
And that's what our plan is right now, is just to at least still bring them up and take them through the strength and conditioning stuff, and watch them do the actual body weight workout.
Make sure they're actually doing it, right?
Yeah, I want to have eyes on you. I want to verify this thing. Y'all say that y'all are doing it. I believe you, but I'm going to verify this.
I've seen some kids that, they say it. I saw one kid, his cheeks look chubbier. I said, oh, man. I don't know.
Hey, once boredom hits, what do you think them kids are doing? Yeah. It says my kids in that first couple of weeks, I was like, man, we got to have a better system than this, because every 20 minutes I'm hungry. I need to go to, look at this. It's my dad. Hello? Why not?
So Marcus, what's
new? Just enjoying my life, Coach. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a lot of fun just watching you two.
Hey, on behalf of the San Antonio Area Association of Basketball Coaches, we want to commend you on what you're doing with this thing. Hey, this is fantastic.
Well, thank you, Coach. I really do appreciate it. There he is.
Hey, is that too bright, Michael?
You're good. It's a little bit bright, but it's all good.
Turn on that light. How about now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Marcus. Thank you.
Oh, hey, that was the best 14 minutes all day long. That was great.
All right. Well, hey.
To watch y'all interact with each other reminded me of me and my dad.
Well, I tell you what. Hey, this technology stuff has got me going crazy. So
it's the 21st century way to meet and hang out nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, hey, that's why I've been home all this time.
Well, I just want to tell you guys, thank y'all for working through that and taking some time out of your day to hang out and talk basketball, talk life, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to talk to you guys.
Well, so are we. Believe me.
Appreciate it, Marcus.
Oh, no problem, Mike. So I don't want to call you guys Coach or Coach Gonzales. So I guess if I refer to you,
call me Art.
I'll call you Art, and I'll call you Mike, and it's hard, right? The manners and the respect factor. It's hard to go around.
I understand. I still call my old high school coach by just Coach.
Yeah. So forgive me if I say Art. I understand the circumstances.
No problem.
So I really think that our profession has some outstanding coaches, and I think that the people in our profession do an amazing job of connecting with young people and people in general, and making impactful relationships. And so a lot of these interviews you see talk a bunch of X's and O's with coaches, and I don't really want to know much about your philosophies on offense and defense. I like to learn more so about the person standing on the sidelines. What is it about them that allows them to make these connections? And I like the idea of you have a father that went through the ranks, and you have a son that's doing the same now. And so I think that's a neat perspective. And so again, thank you guys for taking the time out to talk.
Our pleasure.
Let's talk a little bit about this whole COVID situation. What have you guys been doing to stay busy, stay active? Y'all been binge watching any TV shows, or what's on your agenda daily?
Age before beauty, Michael. So, well, aside from just staying home, I mean, goodness gracious, I've been retired since 2010. Then I coached part-time for 2 years till 2012. So for me, I guess it's kind of I've been here all this time. So, getting to do more things around the house, not going out as often because we love to go out to eat, but we haven't done that in a while. So glued to the TV, yard, talk to the grandkids, FaceTime over the phone, but that's, for me, that's been about it. Now for you guys, I know it's different. Go, Michael.
Yeah, it's been interesting to say the least. I think that I had a conversation with one of my buddies, and his kids are older. They're all older in high school. He's like, man, it's a grind right now. Like, they don't want to hang out with me as much. Like, they're in their room all day. So I'm fortunate that my kids are younger. I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. My youngest will be 6 tomorrow, and they want to spend time with dad. They want to spend time with mom, and they want to be around. And so I'll never get this opportunity again. It's been good. I wake up in the morning, get a little workout on. And as soon as the workout, usually have one Zoom meeting. And then me and my girls go outside. We ride bikes. They jump rope. We play catch. Got a baseball bat this week. They've been trying to hit the baseball. But it's been good. And then after school, once we finish up all our work in the evening again, we're trying to find trails and go on walks in the neighborhood. And it's been great to see. Remind me of when we were growing up, and you see kids outside riding their bikes. You see kids and families outside together. We eat dinner. We eat breakfast together. We eat lunch together. We eat dinner together. And so as tough and as different as it's been, I'm looking at all the blessings that have come from it. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next year, but once we get back in it and things are normal again, well, then how much time do I really get to spend at home? You just like both of y'all, we spent a lot of time in the office, a lot of time at school, and my girls, they ain't gonna play basketball. They haven't found an interest yet, maybe later on, but right now it's not happening. So it's not like I'd take them to the gym. We can hang out there for a while. So I'm really enjoying the time.
I see your social media, your Twitter posts of you and your kids. It's like you're having a blast. And so from this end, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like you said, man, my neighborhood, I've never seen so many basketball goals go up.
Yeah.
My block, I think there's like 6 that went up, and everybody's just kind of shooting outside and like, I got you guys shooting my goal and he's shooting his, and we're kind of playing horse or something from long distance. Things are definitely different, but it's good to be outside and get back to kind of like the old days, like you said. I remember growing up, I used to be in the backyard playing ball until my mom had to spank me to come inside.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and you know what? Told my kids, I guess, a week or two ago, coming home, they're like, "I'm so thirsty, and we passed up a water hose, and I was like, "Dude, I remember when I used to just get thirsty, I go to a neighbor's hose, like, no, don't get in. You drink a little bit of water, close it, and then walk off, and then continue about my business." Now I wouldn't even think about doing that, but my girls are like, "You really drink from that hose?" I was like, "I'm thirsty," and it tasted good at the time. Right now, I don't recommend it, though.
You kind of dove into it, but let's talk a little bit about both of y'all, your childhood, some influences in your life along the way that kind of led you down this path of coaching and education. I guess, Coach Art, if you want to start.
Sure. Well, hey, I grew up and was raised in the small town of Uvalde, 80 miles west of here. Coming from hardworking parents, especially my dad. We were migrants. End of the school year, we go up north and wouldn't come back till late August, early September. And so work ethic was one of the things that was instilled in us real young. and I'm just so thankful for that because hey, my dad said never be afraid of a job, never be afraid of taking on something, because it's going to make you better down the road. So anyway, with that in mind, in Uvalde, we didn't have high school sports sports till you got to high school. We didn't have them in middle school, So anyway, I got involved with basketball. A neighbor where my grandmother used to live, he had a basketball goal. And I guess I was going to be an 8th grader. And he just got me hooked with basketball. And in high school, I played football and basketball. I excelled a little more in basketball. I guess maybe that explains it. But anyway, I had 2 outstanding coaches in high school, Marvin Gustafson and Jerry Comelander. Marvin Gustafson was my football coach, and Jerry Comelander was my basketball coach. And I guess from the time that I was probably a sophomore, I said, you know what? I think that's what I want to do. I want to be a coach. And because of those 2 gentlemen, that's the career that I took. And I just admired those 2 guys. I never saw them lose control. They always remained calm, collected, and I never saw them, throw a hissy fit. Now, not to say that they wouldn't get after you, but I mean, not to where they're out of control. And so I tried to kind of emulate, even though Michael and Javier probably say, no, Dad, you were crazy on the sidelines. but anyway, that's what got me into coaching. And I owe a lot to those 2 gentlemen, and I've been blessed in my career. I'm doing something that I love to do. I didn't get in it for the money. And I think maybe that's what deters a lot of coaches now is, hey, I'm not making enough money. I need to get into another career. But just loving the game, loving the sport, loving to be around kids, trying to be a positive role model for them, nothing greater in the world.
Talking about those 2 coaches, I did an interview earlier in the day with Coach Bogus, and he said he coached under him, I believe, and he gave those 2 guys a lot of credit as well.
Yes. Coach Comelander from Uvalde, they came to Churchill. He became the head football coach, and so the story, from then on, he was the AD at Northeast. But yeah, hey, 2 outstanding gentlemen.
Mike?
Well, so both my parents, you just heard my dad's story. So I was the son of a coach. My mom's a teacher and grew up in a middle-class neighborhood and enjoyed playing basketball from a young age. Get to go with Dad, just right. And every Saturday during the season, get up, go to the gym, get to play around. Tuesdays and Fridays, we pretty much went to most of their games. Unless it was a late Tuesday game, we probably wouldn't go, especially when we were younger. But I remember spending a lot of time in the gym and a lot of time going to watch games. I'd get to go on buses with them. This was back when it didn't really matter. So they go on a trip on Saturday. We didn't have school. Well, then I joined the team. And so from the time I was a young kid, I remember saying, I want to be a coach. And I think that my mom would always try to steer me away from education, say, no, go into business, go into banking, go in there and make some money. But people talk about the money aspect of it. But I was a kid growing up and I always had plenty. I probably had more than I needed. And so I felt like, man, we're doing just fine. We're doing great. The money that we're going to make is going to be adequate to raise a family and to have fun. And I think I was jealous and liked it because I get to see my dad go to work in shorts and a T-shirt. And so he was a PE. Most of the time he was PE teacher, but he'd go to work. And I was like, what other job am I going to find that I can put shorts on and put a T-shirt on and go get it done? So brought up in the Judson Independent School District, went to Kitty Hawk, and then by the time I became a freshman, I went with my dad to Highlands High School and played both my 4 years of high school there. And then from high school, I went to Texas State, got my degree in teaching and kinesiology and a minor in history. And the story goes from there.
So, I talked to Art Villa earlier in the series, and and he gave some good perspective on coaching his son. And so we'll touch on that in just a second, Coach Art. But from a player's perspective, what was it like playing for your father?
Me? Oh man, it's definitely a different circumstance. It's unique. I benefited from it because I got to see my brother. My brother was 4 years older than me. And so I really had 4 years of education before then, because we pretty much went to every single game that went, especially when my brother got there. And so I would hear the stories that he would tell. I would hear what my dad would say, and just kind of understood what to expect and what to go on. But I guess the biggest one was, he was like, "You don't call me dad." He says, when we're at school, it's coach. And you got to be Coach Gonzales, and just understand I'm gonna be a little bit harder on you than I am on the other kids, just so, because people are gonna talk when they get there, and they did. That was like first time in my life I had went somewhere else. I had met some new people, and nobody knew who I was except for the former basketball players. And so that first year or so was tough because I had never had somebody. I got along with most people. I got along, had made great friends, but then now all of a sudden there's a new kid in town, and took a lot of flack from being the coach's son, the typical things that you would get. And so it was a big adjustment period at first, but he had coached me all my life too, so it really wasn't a huge change.
What about for you, Coach? How was that experience?
Oh, I tell you what, it's something that I wish every coach who had a son could do. Marcus, I worked a lot of TABC camps. Matter of fact, I worked the very first one in 1983. It was at Southwest Texas, now Texas State. Yep. So from 83 to 96, I worked every TABC basketball camp. And at camp, when my son started to get closer to come to high school, I was asking coaches that played for their dad, and I asked coaches who coached their sons. And I tell you what, 98% of them said, greatest experience of our lives. And the other 2% said, hey, it was the worst experience in my life. It says, because one, I could never please my dad. 20 points wasn't enough. 15 rebounds wasn't enough. And so worst experience of my life. And then one of them suggested, hey, look, Bob Knight, there's a book out on Bob Knight. Well, actually, it was Steve Alford. And he says, buy that book. And in chapter 3, he devotes a chapter about playing for his dad in high school. Okay, so I bought the book and I read, and sure enough, it gave me some good insights. One of them was, hey, when you win, you can do anything. You can ask anything. When you lose, it's more important that you let your son bring up the topic. I learned that with Javi. He was the first one that I coached, and I was trying to get inside his head, and he would just tune me out, especially when we lost. So right now I said, hey, that's right. I got to let it go. So it's a little different, I'm sure it was, like Michael said, I'm sure it was harder on Michael. I says, Michael, you're going to hear, and Javi, Michael, you're going to hear some things about me. Let it go in one ear, not the other. Don't try to defend me. Don't stand up for me. You just keep walking. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm sure it was harder on them, but I tell you what, I really, really enjoyed it. And we're still close on it. Both of them think, hey, Dad, remember that game that this happened? And so there was a lot of memories that were created, in that situation. The toughest one that I got was my own wife getting after me because I was hollering at her sons too much. But other than that, Marcus is just a great feeling, a great experience. Something that I hope that my sons also gain from.
Well, hopefully they get into basketball at some point, Mike.
We went to, my sister had her 40th birthday on Monday, and my sister has 2 boys and a girl, and they had a hoop just like the one on the door. And my youngest one picked up a ball and she started playing. We played for about 30, 40 minutes just shooting it. And the next day she comes in and she's like, Papi, I had a lot of fun playing basketball with you yesterday. I was like, all right, well, here we go. I got a ball outside, maybe here coming up pretty soon. I'll start rolling it out a little bit more and see what she does. But right now they're all dance and gymnastics.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
And
Nothing wrong with that. No.
Nothing wrong with that.
I have my wife and I adopted 2 wonderful kids last year, and so they were. I mean, I'm a coach, so I'm in the gym, and so they were around it just within that first year. So, my daughter wanted to give it a try, and she's never played basketball in her life, and so we went all in. I mean, she got on the team, she practiced, she did the whole deal, and then little by little we realized, she was losing interest, and so finally, sitting down talking to her like, you sure that you like this? You don't have to like this just because we like this, and she would always say, no, I love it. But then finally she's like, okay, I have to admit something. I really don't like running and all that stuff. It's, I just wanted to give it a try because you were a basketball coach. And I said, well, thank you for being honest, but find what you like and we'll support you there.
Marcus,
go ahead.
A story with that. Our daughter, it's Javi, Delisa, and then Michael. Anyway, the boys hated because she was the athlete, okay? Well, anyway.
Truth.
He was a cheerleader from the time she got in junior high. But in little Pee Wee League, her and Michael played basketball together. And not to brag, but they were probably the better basketball players on the team. I don't know why, but, they were. But anyway, when she got to be a freshman, she made cheerleading at Judson, and she had played basketball all this time. And so she says, Dad, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay, what is it? She says, Dad, you won't be upset if I don't play basketball anymore, will you? And I says, no, why? She says, well, because I'm going to try out for cheerleading in high school, and at Judson, you can't play sports if you're a cheerleader. And I want to do that. Sweetheart, if that's what you want to do, go on and do it. Yep. But yeah, I see the daughters are a little more considerate, right? And say,
yeah. Now my son, he wanted to be like an astronaut or something, but after being in the gym so much, he's like, Dad, he likes to shoot. He'll shoot around a little bit, but he's like, Dad, what I really want to do, be a coach for the McCullum Cowboys.
Yeah. There you go.
That is fantastic.
I don't know if he wants to play, but at the least he wants to be a coach. So
when you're in the gym that much, you almost don't have a choice.
Oh, he'll walk around.
Right? You're just in there, and you're like, man, what am I going to do? Well, I got 2 hours in here. I might as well pick up a basketball and start learning how to do this thing.
Well, you see, he won't get in and shoot too much. What he'll do is he'll walk next to me, and he'll start yelling, hey, what are you doing? Do you want me to tell your mom? Run faster. Right? He's just yelling at him.
On the job training.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about y'all's journey, your coaching journey. Where'd you start, and kind of where you're at now in your career?
Well, I was fortunate that my first job out of college, A&I Kingsville, now it's A&M, but anyway, my old high school JV football coach was a head football coach in Luling, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so when I graduated, he called my mother at home in Uvalde. He says, hey, has Art graduated? He says, yes, sir, he has. Well, here's my number. Tell him to call me. I got a job for him. So in 1974, when I get back home, I call him. I go and interview. I get hired at Luling, Texas. I'm the 8th grade football coach, JV and freshman basketball coach.
Oh, wow.
And 8th grade track coach, because it's Luling Junior Senior High. So that's where I got my start. And then, Marcus, the following year, the head basketball coach resigns at coaching school.
Huh.
So they promote me to the head job.
Second year?
The second year. They threw me right in the frying pan. Man, oh man. So I mean, I learned a lot. I thought, you know how you are when you're young. You think you know everything,
Yeah.
but you don't. But anyway, I got started in Luling. I came 2 years later. I came to Jefferson as an assistant. Then I went to Harlandale for 2 years. Then I went to Del Rio. My wife's from Del Rio. Michael was born in Del Rio. We went to Del Rio for 3 years. Came back. I was at Highlands as an assistant for a year. Then I got the head job at Burbank. From Burbank, I go to Highlands from 91 to 2004.
Mhm.
And then from 2004 to 2010, I'm at the Alamo Stadium Athletic Office as an assistant. And then I retired, and I was hired at John Paul II to coach basketball without a gym, Marcus.
No gym?
And they still don't have a gym. And they did well this year. They lost in the 3A championship game in Taps.
Oh, is that where Forrest is at, Blackwell?
Yes, that's him.
Okay.
But anyway, that was my coaching career. Hey, I learned a lot at every one of those stops. You know, it's funny, but some of the coaches that you listen to, they say, hey, you can't really become a big winner until you've lost quite a few. And I'll tell you what, Harlandale, when I got there in the last 4 years, they were 4 and 107.
Oh, wow.
And gosh, first year we were 3 and 27, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
And those 3 games, this is before they were big. We beat East Central those 3 games. Once in the tournament and twice in district. So then I went to Del Rio, and it wasn't much better, you know. Came to when I went to Burbank, had a decent 2 years, made the playoffs the first year. You know, came in second to Sam Houston. Sam Houston was first, we were second, and we played East Central, and they killed us they beat us in overtime, 82-81.
Ooh.
But that was it. I enjoyed every stop. I mean, like I said, it's just one of these things that you just love doing.
Yeah.
You know, and that was basically my career there.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, so kind of a lot of parallels between my dad and mine, and certainly a lot of opportunities were created because of who my father was. I'm grateful for those opportunities. But after I graduated from Texas State, I did my student teaching at Woodlake Hills, and so I know you had Lonnie on here. You talked the story. I want to offer a rebuttal because he didn't tell the story quite the way that it should have been. But I did that. I was all level PE, so like the very first part of it, you have to do secondary. Well, I was at Woodlake Hills, and so I knew I wanted to be a coach. So I helped out with football. First time since middle school doing anything with football. And man, we had a fantastic team. We had one of the Greens, Aaron Green, who was our running back. He was an unbelievable athlete, played at Madison, went on to Nebraska, and then played at TCU. And I mean, just a phenomenal athlete. And then I think we had 2 or 3 other Division I athletes on that team. So we were loaded 7th grade. Went out, did the second part in elementary. And while I'm there at the elementary, maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the elementary, I get a phone call from the coach that I was a student teacher for. His name was Cliff Baker, and he's like, "Hey, like I'm gonna have knee replacement surgery. We need a permanent sub over here, and would you like to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me check with my monitoring teacher." My monitoring teacher was cool with it. So before I finished there, I went back to Woodlake Hills, got to be with Lonnie Hub and John Danaher, who's our first assistant now. Richard Mendoza, who's a head coach at Veterans, had left a couple of years before, but we just had a fantastic staff and was able to start on basketball as well. Coach Danaher was a head coach. Lonnie Hubbard was the B team coach. So he says, Coach, I know that you want to do basketball, so I'm going to give Hub the A team. We'll practice together, but Hub will coach them, and you got the B team by yourself. And so it was awesome. We had 20 guys on the B team, okay, 20 players. And the rule was they all had to play one quarter.
Oh, wow.
So I had a first quarter team, which was my second best 5. I had a second quarter team. I had a third quarter team, and then I had my B team studs were the fourth quarter team. And so there was great because there's no subbing, and you just played that 7 minutes or whatever it was, and then at the end of the quarter, that was your time. So that lasted till about January, and then I get a phone call from SAISD. Hey, we need a PE teacher, an elementary PE teacher, but the only catch is you have to coach softball at Fox Tech. And so I'm like, man, I got a good gig here at Woodlake Hills, but Coach Baker's going to be coming back soon. So I took it, and I went to this elementary, Jaffet Elementary. I taught elementary PE for 4.5 years. I did that first year of 2 years of Fox Tech softball. My first full year, I coached football and basketball at Page Middle School, the Page Ponies. And then after that, when my dad left Burbank High School and went to Highlands, Coach Jackson took over. Coach Jackson is still there. Well, he needs an assistant, and so he called my dad, and he's like, "Yeah, Mike's in the area." So he hired me. I was there for 6 years, 4 years as a B team coach, and then while I was at Jaffet Elementary, and then the last 2 years I was a JV coach. I was able to get on campus. Got a phone call or applied for a job in Laredo, kind of similar to what my dad said. My wife's from Laredo. And so I got the head job at a Laredo LBJ. I was there for 4 years. And when Veterans opened up, Coach Steve, known Steve for a long time, he gets the job. I'm looking to come back home. Would you mind coming back and being the assistant? Yeah, let's do it. So I've been here for 4 years now. It's been great. Opening up a new school has provided a lot of opportunities for me. It's definitely a lot of work, but it's been good. I think that I've grown as a teacher, as a coach, as a person as well.
It's pretty crazy. 4 years has flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah, it goes by quick. Like, this is going to be our first our last game this year. Kind of reminiscing with some of the guys. I think had 7 seniors, but three of them had been with us since the very beginning. And I was like, man, I might not ever get this opportunity again. Like, I've literally seen every single high school game that y'all have played. Mm-hmm. Because they started, one of them started with me on the freshman team. One was a freshman but played JV. So I got to see all of those games. Well, then one moves up to JV. The other one moved up to varsity. Well, I got to see all of those games. One stayed on JV, was with me again. So I coached him 3 years as like my direct player. And then last year moved on to varsity. I was like, I'll never have that opportunity where I could say, like, I've literally seen every single game y'all played in wearing a Veterans uniform. Yeah. And it's been a wild ride. It's gone by quick, and now we're kind of on a little bit more stable ground, and programs looking to continue an upward trend.
And now we don't have to play y'all anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic, man. I don't got to sit underneath. I got to sit underneath.
Oh, you don't like the dugouts?
Man, the dugout's definitely unique. I don't think that I liked it as a player either.
Well, Mike, what was it like? Having your dad in the business and being had a phenomenal career as a coach, and having someone like that to lean on during your career.
It's a blessing, and if you don't use it correctly, it's a curse, because one thing that I learned from him is how to treat people. And if you've ever walked around them for a while, like go to a coaching convention or a coaching clinic, you can't walk more than 5 to 10 steps without somebody stopping him, saying hello, him talking to them, giving praises, giving hugs, giving handshakes and high fives. I think my first year at LBJ, we came down for the Texas High School Coaches Association clinic, and bring my assistants with me. And so we go in there and we walk, and like maybe after 30 minutes or so, both of them start laughing. And they're like, is anybody going to ask you how you're doing? Like everybody that comes up to you says, how's your dad? Hey, I just saw your dad, but all the conversations are about your dad. And I was like, yeah, well, he knows a lot of people. And that, sure enough, like we walk another few steps. Hey, I just saw your dad. So that whole 2 or 3 days that we were at that clinic, it just became a running theme. How many people are going to ask Coach about his dad today? But always a sounding board. And if he's good about offering advice and not pushing, like this is what I would do in your situation. And then sometimes I would listen. A lot of times I wouldn't. And then sure enough, I go back and like, I probably should have listened to what you were saying and what you were trying to get me to do. But the more that I get into this and watching TABC, just got to have a system. You got to know exactly what you're doing. Can't do too much. And you got to be like fully in, like convicted that this is the way it is. And that's what he developed at, I think, those later years at Highlands, especially. This is how we're going to play. This is what we're going to be good at. This is what I'm going to live with. This is what I'm not going to live with. And if you don't have those things set in stone, you're going to have a tough time, or you're going to be a roller coaster at the bare minimum. And so always good to have somebody to talk to. And sometimes just I want to do things on my own, and then I find out the hard way. The older I get, the more I'll listen.
Marcus, I mean, hey, I tell you what, I missed the game. I wish I could coach again, but I'm not as young as I used to was. And but I mean, the passion is still there. Hey, I see Michael's games and Javi's games, and like I said, I try not to say too much unless they ask me. But it's also a thrill watching them coach, and seeing them perform and how they interact with their players, So again, it's like me coaching them all over again. I mean, I get a lot of satisfaction and a lot of joy and a lot of pride, in watching them do their coaching.
It's funny you say that you still miss it. I have it written down, my next question. So what is it that you miss the most about coaching?
Mainly two things. Interaction with the players and dealing with coaches. I mean, hey, you know that we are the most positive people on earth. Coaches are, so once you get around coaches who think and believe things the way you do, you kind of miss that interaction. I know that I've got several of them: Coach Dickey, Wayne Dickey, and Rudy Bernal, and Lou Torres. We get together a lot, and we talk about those times, but you miss that interaction with the players, with other coaches. And that competitive spirit of, hey, can I teach these kids this system, and will they be able to run it? A challenge.
Mm-hmm. I just talked to Coach Torres not too long ago. He wants to get on, and I was thinking I should probably try to pair him up with Coach Dickey. I think that'd probably be a good little combination, huh?
No, you know where the best combination would have been? With Dickey and Bogus.
Really?
Oh, they are hilarious. I'm telling you, But yeah, hey, that would be good. That would be good.
I got him, and then I talked to Coach Gerlich out of Seguin. Mike, did you know he retired recently?
No.
Yeah, he just retired like a couple of days ago.
Really?
Yeah. And then I talked to Brian out in Kerrville. He retired on Sunday.
Did he really? So Coach Bettis and I were talking about that like throughout the year. Like, man, what is he going to do? Do you think that he's gonna retire? And I think he asked them directly because they had their playoff game. They played Floresville at Veterans in the second round, and before the game, he asked them. He was like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do." He goes, "Maybe I've done everything that I set out to do in coaching. My son's gonna be going on. Maybe after this year, I'll call it quits. Maybe I'll come back. I don't know." You
sound like that's a good invitation.
Yeah, maybe I don't. And so I guess he decided that he wasn't coming back.
I got him and Coach Leach scheduled for next week. I'll ask
Oh,
him.
that'll be a good one.
That'll be an entertaining one.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, you say Coach Leach and Michael in one of his earliest basketball camps at TABC, Coach Leach was his coach. And he was in elementary.
All right, come get your kid. He's running around. Won't listen.
He would do like I've been fortunate enough to I guess since as a player I saw my dad always work in TABC camp. So as soon as I graduated, I've been working. I think I've done 13 summers now at the TABC camp and kind of worked my way up into one of the leadership roles. But I saw Coach Leach as a kid. Well, maybe 6 years before I started coaching at the TABC camp, he was like the director, and he's known for doing these like sunrise services is what they call them, where he would just go on like 45 minutes, an hour of warming the kids up. But it's almost like they're doing basketball stuff, but he's putting on a comedy show. Like, and the mic and the coaches are in the background just dying of laughter. The kids are sweating. They're getting basketball work in. They're laughing. But TABC used to be a long grind, like 4 or 5 days. And so I think they did it because it was so long that they needed to have, okay, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's do something a little unorthodox to keep the kids engaged and then kind of get them over that hump when they're fatigued. But I remember him as a player thinking, man, this dude right here is funny. And I liked when he got up and put us through stretches and the way that he talked and the way that he coached. So a joy to be around.
Yeah, he's a character. I remember, I'm going to ask him about it. He probably doesn't remember this at all, but I remember clearly when I was a junior or maybe a sophomore or junior, we were playing at Bernie and they did the starting lineup. Marcus Alvarado. And I go up and I shake his hand. And he grabs him by the hand and he pulls me and walks me across his bench. And he was just like, all right, remember we talked about he's not going to touch the ball, shoot the ball. And I was like, hey, he's holding my hand, right? He didn't care.
Oh, my goodness.
I remember that clearly. Yeah, he didn't care. It was pretty awesome, though. I thought, man, that guy, he's something else. I like him.
Yeah. It was funny to watch. We played him at Burbank when I was at Burbank, and they came to our place. And I every night, like I'd watch the game, and then I'd look over. I wanted to see what he was saying and doing because I mean, he was entertaining. Even on the sideline, I wanted to see what he was up to.
Let's talk a little bit about a pregame ritual. Mike, Coach, was there anything that you had to do before a game? Something you had to eat, or just kind of what was your routine to kind of get your mind in the right place?
Me, I always drank a Coke.
Coke?
I needed a Coca-Cola, to kind of settle my stomach, so to speak, But that and just a little quiet time, and then come over and I wanted my kids to be quiet too. I wanted them to start thinking about the game. So and then we talk about what we needed to do that game. I listed 3 or 4 or 5 things on the board. Hey, here's what we got to do. Here's what we got to do. And matchups. But no, just quiet. If I had a Coke, I was good. If I didn't, I make sure my manager had one at halftime for me. But that was basically it. Hey, just trying to stay calm.
You know who else drank soda was Coach. He retired from Highlands a few years ago.
Lot.
Coach Lott. He whenever I'd coach against him, I'd always see him with a soda right there on the side. I think maybe Dr. Pepper or Coke.
Dr. Pepper. That's what he drank.
Always had a Dr. Pepper, and he'd be yelling at the kids, and they'll take a sip of his Dr. Pepper and put it back down. What about you, Mike?
As far as coaching, like what am I going to do? What's my game plan, or just
just like get your head in the right space?
No, like that. I don't do anything particular. Just make sure my tie's right.
Yeah.
My red pants are starched.
Oh God. Mike giving you a hard time about those pants, Mike.
Hey, they're good. They're good for a couple of wins a year.
No, it's good. I mean, every coach has got their own thing, their own little routine. Some coaches have a little ritual, some don't. I just wanted to kind of see what you guys did. But you're right. That quiet time is good. I like that time. Like the JV game's going. I'll watch some of that game. Then I'll walk back to the other gym, watch the freshman game for a bit, and then halftime. With the varsity guys after they shoot around, at halftime, talk to them, get them in the right place, and I'll go to my office and get dressed and just think and just kind of get my own thought process going. Nobody's in there. There's no talking. It's just me and my brain and kind of just sorting things out in my head, preparing. So that quiet time, like you talked about, Coach Art, I mean, that's important to me, at least on my end.
Marcus, I saw you play when y'all came to Veterans Memorial, and I thought your teams were very well prepared, and that just tells you, hey, you're in the game. You're in the game. The main thing is to be competitive, and I think you've got your kids being competitive.
I appreciate it, Coach. What about what have you seen, Coach Art, as far as changes? From the time you started coaching and up until this point, and even though you're currently retired, but you're still involved. You run the SAABC. You're involved with all the coaches. So what changes have you seen as far as the profession goes from then till now?
Well, for one is what we're doing right now. I mean, this new technology, I mean, it is something else. Hey, when we were coaching, hey, I enjoyed going to clinics. I enjoyed getting together with other coaches. I loved reading books. I loved picking the other coaches' brains, and I don't see too much of that going on right now. But like I said, now you have this, which we have now. You can get on YouTube and or buy disc or whatever you call them now and learn from them. Huddle, I think, is another thing that y'all do, but that plus the kids, kids are going to be kids. I mean, I always tell Michael this: kids will do what you allow them to do. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want them to do that, you need to make sure you tell them. You make sure that you express your expectations, because they'll do what you allow them to do. But the new technology thing is the biggest thing. I love getting together with coaches, which is something that doesn't happen anymore. Before, Marcus, I don't know if you remember this, you would have to meet to pick your officials. Mm-hmm. Okay, now they're assigned, but we met 3 times a year, and all the coaches gathered in one particular gym, and we all interacted and talked basketball and, had a great time, and you don't see that anymore. I also don't see the camaraderie that we used to have. Now, hey, if I played you, I was going to try to beat your brains out. Yeah. But after the game, it's over. I mean, hey, we're still friends. We still talk. Whereas other coaches take it a little more, personal. Yeah. And I mean, you're in the same profession. Hey, y'all are trying to do the same thing. You want the best for your kids. So you don't hold that against the other coach because he beat you or. Yeah. But that's basically it. Kids are a lot better. I mean, hey, they're a lot better coached. But that's basically it.
The technology thing, it is a game changer, but you're right. I mean, for me, I enjoy just face-to-face interaction with coaches, going to the clinics. I mean, TABC, those kinds of things. I love just being around the coaches and talking, and you got a presenter and you're picking the guy's brain next to you. Hey, what do you think about that? And you're all writing notes, and then the state tournament, right, is a time where we all can hang out and talk. Yeah. And we didn't get we don't have that opportunity this year. So I guess this is my own selfish way of trying to find ways to still connect with coaches and pick their brains. And
well, it's a good one. It's a good one. Hey, I'm glad you're doing it. Oh, TABC had those clinics on last week, and Oh man, they really put on a show. There was quite a few speakers, great topics. I got to listen in on a few of them, but like you, I'd like to go back in there and listen to quite a few others.
Yeah.
It's funny. My wife says, "What are you doing? You're not coaching anymore." Because I still look at basketball plays that I get from on my emails, and I like to go look at them every now and then. I make a copy and I'll send it to Michael, and you know what he tells me? I've already got it, Dad.
We got the same email.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, but that's basically it. Hey, I think that passion is the main thing. If you don't have the passion, you're not going to go very far.
Let's talk a little bit about some impactful moments in your career. The wins and the losses and the X's and the O's. I mean, they're important part of what we do, but the most important part is our kids and the relationships and that kind of stuff. So just talk about some impactful moments that come to mind. You don't have to use names. You can if you want. It's up to you.
Well, with me, it's always been, like I said, I like to interact with people. With me and my players, my ex-players, my former players, I like to keep up with them, and they'll tell me things that I did that I don't remember that I did, but I guess I did it because they agree. No, coach, that's what you did. That's what you did. But that's the biggest thing with me is when former players call or when you meet up with them somewhere and you see that, hey, man, they were listening, to what I was talking about, and I remember I had a particular player who, as a junior, didn't understand the word team. And then because he was a better player, his senior year, he took on the leadership role. And after one of the practices, he says, "Coach, I need to talk to you." I says, "Yes, sir." He says, "They're not listening to me. They're not. And he was that guy the year before. I mean, that he wouldn't listen. I says, "Well, hey, that's why it's important that you have got to be a role model. You've got to set the example. If you don't set the example, they're not going to listen. They're not going to follow you." But I remember when he graduates as coach, I want to thank you because I learned a very important lesson. That hey, if you want people to follow, you got to set the example, and that's what he did. And sure enough, the rest of the team started listening and reacting to what he was trying to tell them. So mainly, it's just those interpersonal relationships you have with your players. And then when, like I said, they call or they come back and say, "Coach, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing this." And the biggest thing is, I always want to thank my wife for letting me coach. She allowed me to coach. We have 3 kids growing up. They were 2 years apart, all of them, two. And one year she told me, "Hey, I need help because I can't handle all 3." And I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. Next year I'll just teach. I won't coach. That way I can be home and help pick up the kids or whatever." Well, the following morning she says, "Listen, you wouldn't be happy, and I know you love to coach, so I will handle it. Go on and coach." So, hey, that was that really meant a lot to me because she was doing all the sacrifice, and she allowed me to coach. And to this day, I thank her, and
that's important. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a wife who loves the game just as much as I do and wants to be a part of it. And is a great team mom type of situation every year. And so she's just as much a McCullum Cowboy as anybody, even though she graduated from South San. But I think that's important, right? Because without that support,
it's very important. Now my wife wasn't into basketball, Marcus, until the kids got into high school.
Gotcha.
When they became freshmen, then she started to be at every game.
And she started yelling at the coach.
Yeah, right. Make sure that the coach was treating their son right. So, but yeah, that's important. And Mike is in a very unique situation also. I remember when him and Nayeli were dating. She kind of asked my wife, "Well, what's it like being a coach's wife?" And my wife told her, "Hey, well, look, hey, you're gonna have to do a lot of things." I'll let Michael explain it. You're gonna have to do a lot of things that your husband won't be able to do because he's occupied in coaching. So make sure that that's what you want to do. I mean, if you can't put up with that, then this is not a good union. So go ahead, Mike.
I got a bone to pick with my mom. I forgot about this. So I guess maybe last year or the year before, as the girls started to get older, and we moved back to San Antonio. Her family's in Laredo, and so just like maybe on a Thursday, she was like, "Hey, I had a conversation with your mom." I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" She goes, "I asked her, well, how did you do it? Like, he has to work on Saturdays. Like, I want to go visit my family, but like if we leave after practice, then by the time we get there, we don't even have a full day to spend." She goes, "Oh, I wouldn't ask. I would just leave." And so that next day, I get home from a game and my family's gone. They're in Laredo hanging out having a good time because of the great advice of my mom. But she was like, I didn't ask. I just took them. If I wanted to go, then I'd go. And so my wife has gotten in that habit during basketball season, like every once a month or so. She's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend a full 2 days in there. Mainly it started when I was trying to get my master's. And so after work on Saturday, I'd come home, I'd have work to do. And so she'd just take the kids and get out. I'd spend a day doing my work. She'd get to spend 2 days with her family and then come home. But I thought it was actually really good advice from my mom, and they're great friends. And so I'm very fortunate that my wife and my mother, they talk more than me and my mom do. So my mom calls my wife, she don't call me, and I'm in the background saying, "I'm doing good, Mom. Don't worry about me."
That's great. And what about some impactful moments in your career, Mike?
I guess I'm getting a little bit older now, so some of the kids that I've coached are having families. But and I think probably heard about that. One of these other coaches talk about something similar. But I had a kid who was really good, played for me in Laredo. And he started for me as a sophomore, started for me as a junior, and then senior year, okay, we're going to be ready to go. It's going to be a big year, but starts having trouble in school, having trouble at home, and kind of not doing the things that we needed him to do. And I love this kid to pieces, but ended up kicking him off. He didn't play a game for us his senior year. And I guess maybe a year or two after, he had his second kid, and he came back, called, and was like, "Coach, man, I appreciate all that you've done for me. I needed that. Like, I don't know where I would be if that moment had to happen, because it was a wake-up call for him. Like, maybe I'm not walking down the right path." And now he's working for the oil fields. He has 3 kids, taking care of his family. You feel like, man, I lost a kid. And you don't ever want to kick people off. Your goal is to try to keep everybody involved as much as they can. But sometimes the line is being drawn and can't allow it to continue anymore. And so I always struggle with those decisions, because it can go one of two ways. Either they're going to straighten out, or they're going to continue to go left and then get things that continue going down the wrong path. And then now a life that you could have impacted, you're not.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been a big impactful moment. I want to talk about another one too, and the game of basketball and why it's been so good. Because you meet people and you grow up, and you never know where that small meeting is going to take you later on in life. And I guess maybe not even a year ago, 6 months ago or so, I ran into Tweety at church, and Tweety, like, I hadn't talked to Tweety or seen him in years. And he's like, "Hey, we got a Bible study that we're going to do, and we play ball. Would you like to join?" Like, yeah. And so there's a group of us who get together that we haven't gotten together in a while, but we've been doing Zoom meetings every week. But it's just that brotherhood that you share with people who play basketball. and we go out there and we play for about an hour, hour and a half. And then we sit down with a whole bunch of grown men. The pastor of our church shows up every now and then to hoop and to talk and to worship. And we talk about issues that we're having, how to parenting issues that we're having, things that have happened in that week that are great, that are going on in each other's lives. And we celebrate with each other and we help one another out. And that has really, that one day a week has really kind of help my relationship in the spiritual sense. And so I've gotten closer to the Lord, but I have somebody to bounce things off of, that looks like you, that talks like you, that has similar backgrounds that you have. And that's kind of been an impactful moment. You never know the person that you're meeting now and how they can affect you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line.
Absolutely. What have been some of your guys' keys to connecting with your kids? Or what would you tell a young coach as far as making connections with their players, his or hers?
Well, here's one thing that I was told early in my career is that those players that you're coaching, they're yours. They're your kids. You treat them like you would treat your sons. Okay, it's got to be that intimate. I mean, to where, hey, you treat them like you would treat your own son. And so with me, my dad was a people person, and I'd like to think that I'm one, and that you want to connect with your players. The old saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I've always believed that, and my door was always open to kids. Hey, you want to come in and talk? Hey, come on. Call me at home if you need to. But you just got to treat them right. Now they need a chewing. But afterwards you put your arm around their shoulder and say, hey, you understand why we did this, right? And so that was the biggest thing. I never had a problem with any of my players. Everything was written down. Everything was black and white. Everything was, here's the way it's going to be. And for that matter, I didn't have any problem with parents either. So you just gotta treat them like they're your own sons. What would you do if he was your son? How would you, go about handling the situation?
Absolutely.
So that's the approach that I took.
So just to give my 2 cents, I just think that I had this conversation with my cross country kids the last day. We went to regionals, and that day before regionals we're talking. But I had 2 kids who were having issues with their families, and they had expressed to me like they don't know how to like where's their life headed if they don't know what kind of person they are, what kind of father they can be. And I said, look, nobody knows. Some of these kids, nobody knows. Like, I didn't know how to be a father, but the first thing that you need to do is just be present, be there. Like, just be involved. Like, if you're there, that's step 1, and then you'll figure out the rest as you move along. But show an interest in your lives. And it's the same thing with us. The world is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And cell phones and technology has been great. And I'm guilty of this as well. But, man, you got to put away the phone, put it in your pocket, and you got to spend time with them in the locker room. And you got to know what they enjoy doing besides basketball. Like, what are your conversations like in the locker room? What are your conversations like in the hallway? What are your conversations like when they roll up on Saturday morning? Is it about basketball, or is it about what's up? What's going on? Are you getting a feel for them? Do you know what's going on at home? How many brothers and sisters do they like? What music are they into right now? What class is your favorite? Where are you going in your life? And so those are all the things that you've got to have answered. And the only way to get answers to those questions is to be present. And by sitting down and spending that time with them one-on-one in the locker room, but I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you in the eyes. and moving around the locker room. But I think those are some of the best times, is that locker room after practice, before practice, after games. It's just sitting down in the locker room, and you're going to bump into somebody, and then now you've created a conversation.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk so much about what happened in the game, but we're going to just chop it up. Like, this is my son, like my dad said, or man, this is my younger brother. And I'm trying to get to know him and teach him the ropes of how to play this game of life.
That's great. Both great stuff. And like you're saying, Mike, that connection's got to be genuine on your end, right? I mean, the kids will read right through it if it's forced or fake.
Yeah. You know what we talked about too, just me and my dad, I forgot. And then I want to commend you on something, is that he said, man, know their birthdays. And so if you have a kid, and I was like, man, this is the idea that I've had, like that first day, like when you come in, like I need to start putting them all in my phone and then alerting me. And so like I'm not going to be the first one, their parents, but like I'm one of the first people to reach out and say, hey, happy birthday. How's your day going? What do you want to happen today? Offer them a little bit of encouragement, but it's not through somebody else. I think that I've made this mistake, is that I find out like at the end of the day, after practice, it was so-and-so's birthday, and it's because they told me in front of the kid. And so now you're like, oh, let's make it a deal, when it was my job to have already known that. Like I should have told him that at first period. I should have told him that before he got to school. I should have called him before. The first thing that I saw him, give him a hug, put my arms around him, tell him happy birthday, and make him feel special, for even if it's just that one little moment. Another big thing, I think you do a fantastic job, Marcus, with social media. I think kids, they enjoy having their pictures taken, and you're doing better with videos. But that was kind of one of my goals this off season, is to figure out how to edit pictures. That way kids can have some, I can send it to them, but those are mementos that they like to have. And they know that, okay, coach spent a little bit of time working on this, and he cares about me. Like, it's not just like it's going to take 20 minutes, but it's worth it. Put a smile on their face for a little bit. And so as one of the changes in coaching, I think that's a big one.
I think they like seeing it. It makes them feel good. They'll see it on the McCullum basketball Twitter, and they tweet it, and their friends will see it. And anything that we can do to help those guys feel a little better about the day, I mean, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
I appreciate that, Mike, and I appreciate you guys for taking some time out today to talk. It's been fun. Like I said, I've been enjoying just talking to as many coaches as I can, and getting to know them and their stories and what they do to connect with kids. And like I said, I mean, it's a good way to get information out to the world to see, how passionate, these coaches are about their job. But also selfishly trying to learn from everybody at the same time, right? I'm taking notes and trying to jot down what I can. But for you two guys to take time out today, I appreciate it.
For sure.
I want to leave you with one thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Marcus? Okay. Integrity, character, and the kind of person you are is much more important than the basketball player that you are. And I wish that more people would understand that, hey, it's not so much about basketball as it is more about life. And if you don't have integrity and character, hey, it doesn't matter what kind of basketball player you are. So thank you, Marcus.
I agree 100%. Thank you so much, guys. And I hope you guys enjoy your day and stay safe out there.
For sure.
Thank you. Best of luck to you, Marcus. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Look at this. It's my dad. Hello? Why not? Says it's launching.
Is that on his phone or laptop?
It's on a laptop. Did you click the little button that says open? If a browser, if it doesn't open, click this button. Click it one time, just one time.
This is good stuff right here.
You're gonna edit all this, right?
I might add it to the blooper reel.
Said you picked an old man. Hey, what are you using? What are you using? Open up, not Internet Explorer. Please tell me, Marcus.
You gotta FaceTime him.
That's what I'm doing. I just hung up on him. I can't see. You got to scoot it further away from the computer.
Tell Marcus to let me get out of here and start over.
Okay, go back to your email from that portion. Okay, click on it.
Doesn't want to give me anything. I'm going to get out of there. And I'm going to try again.
Hey, you might got to just download the app on your phone. I'm thinking that's going to be easier.
And do it on the phone?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Bogus just did it on his phone.
Because I want to say it's your computer.
Well, it was fine yesterday.
Touche.
Okay, so go with my phone?
Yes, and then go to the App Store.
What? I got to download an app?
Yes, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, come on, Nick. Oh, here I am. Hold on. Join video.
This is great stuff.
I told you you're dealing with an old man.
Is the blind leading the blind? There you go.
There he is.
I see something. We got progress.
Well, yeah, but I don't see anything.
Now you got to at the bottom left. If you hover over, you got to click Start Video.
Well, it turned me loose. Okay, bottom left.
You get your mouse to hover over it. It should pop up a little icon.
It says Zoom not responding.
Yeah, I'm like pretty sure it's your computer. Because you're on here. We see your name.
Okay. Marcus, I apologize.
Oh, no worries. I'm not in any kind of rush. No worries.
Well, how come this says recording?
Because you're on here. We just can't see you.
I'm recording.
Yeah, Marcus is recording it. I can't see the screen though, Dad. Like you have me paused, so I can't help you because I don't see what's going on.
Well, because now it directed me to another page.
No, but on the phone, Dad. Like
I'm not on the phone.
I know that. I want to see it so I can help. There you go. Now let me see the screen.
Okay. Well, the screen is not doing anything.
Oh, he went away.
Now you're gone.
Yeah, well, I wasn't there to begin with.
Oh.
So, come on, crazy. I should have gotten on earlier.
Oh, he's back.
It says.
Yeah, there you go. Like we could see you. Like let me just keep the phone on the computer. Let me see what it's telling you. Okay, so on the bottom left, Dad, it says Start Audio. You got to use your mouse. Yeah, right there. That right there. Click that. Or I'm sorry, the one next to it. The video. Yes. And then click Join Audio.
Well,
I think
it's not doing anything with the start video.
it's still loading. that little circle.
So Marcus, what's new?
Just enjoying my life, Coach. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a lot of fun just watching you two.
Hey, on behalf of the San Antonio Area Association of Basketball Coaches, we want to commend you on what you're doing with this thing. Hey, this is fantastic.
Well, thank you, Coach. I really do appreciate it.
Dad, I'm one, like, how about you just download the app?
Okay, let's go there. Okay, where do I go now?
You go to the App Store on your phone.
App Store, I'm there.
And then type in Zoom.
Type in Zoom. Search.
Yes.
Okay. It says Zoom Cloud Meeting.
Yes.
That. Okay, get. Michael, I can't do that
Why?
because I have to look up my Apple ID. You know, your mom says we're gonna use her phone.
Okay, good.
But come on.
Love it. I love it.
We should have done it together. I should have just brought him over here, right?
What
Now-
she's got so many.
Oh, I see you. You're up.
What?
You're up here.
I need audio.
Huh?
Can you hear his audio?
Is that from his phone? Your phone? Or is that from the computer?
No.
I can't see your screen. You got to start your audio.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
The bottom left, whatever you did yesterday.
Now? Can you hear me now?
Hi, Mom. No.
Well, it says now. You still can't hear me?
Still can't hear you.
Well, I'm pressing what you told me to press. Right here.
Yeah, it's thinking. That's why that little bar. Don't click, push it anymore. Leave it alone.
All right.
I think I know what I'm gonna get you for Father's Day. There you go. Click join with computer audio. Click it.
Click it.
Now
Yes.
we can hang up now.
There he is.
Hey, am I? Is that too bright, Michael?
You're good. It's a little bit bright, but it's all good.
Turn on that light. Huh? How about now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Marcus. Thank you.
Oh, hey, that was the best 14 minutes all day long. That was great.